G'day everyone, Les here. I wanted to go through as it says, go through a few ways that you can actually double your money. Why double your money? Well, I think any method, any investment where you double your money has been an extremely successful investment. If you start with $10 and you turn that into 20, it might not sound like a lot of money, but you've doubled your money, and that is quite significant. To try and put a couple of that into a bit more perspective, if you start with $10,000 and you double your money 7 times, you would then have $1.3 million. If you started with only $1,000, then you would have to double your money 10 times to make $1 million. All right. So when you think of it like that, if you think of trying to turn $1,000 into $1 million, it just sounds ridiculous. Like that's going to be, it's too big of a jump. But when you think of it that way, that you only have to double your money 10 times to get to $1 million, then it looks doable. A lot of things look much more doable when you break them down into manageable steps. Then it only comes down to being a matter of how long it's going to take you to do each doubling. Anyway, I'm going to share my screen. And as the boat in the picture there shows you, this is going to be about Future FX. So it's going to be about trading. And here we are on a trading platform back testing setup so that we can actually test strategies and see how they would have gone on previous historical data. So what we're going to be using, one of Future FX's softwares called New Volatility Master. Now, this particular software has undergone quite a few changes over the last almost 2 years, but just recently, in the last 2 to 3 months, it's had a couple of really significant improvements that really starts to make it a hands-free operation. And finding an automated trading software that can actually make you profit consistently while doing so hands-free is extremely rare. Most good results that you'll see out there, somebody's promoting an EA and sharing results, those results have probably been achieved by the owner, the developer of that software, and having a little bit of a hands-on approach, so a little bit of manual oversight. And I'm not saying that Volatility Master can't be improved further with a bit of knowledgeable manual oversight. I'm just going to show you that it can do quite a worthwhile job on its own. Let's just go through this today. All right, so I'll set up the back testing period. Let's go back to the start of the year. So we'll be back testing from the start of this year up until today. I don't want to get into exactly how the softwares work or anything too much. I'm just going to make sure I've got the right settings. Now, this software has got a few really good features, but the one I just want to talk about here quickly is we're going to be using a risk percentage of 3, meaning we will be risking 3% of our account balance per trade. Okay, so this is what I consider fairly aggressive trading. And the targets that we'll be aiming for are a percentage as well. So the idea behind all that is that this software will automatically compound the profits as it goes along. And because we're just going to be turning it on this back tester, I'm not going to display it on a chart, just a rough graph because it goes through quicker. All right, so let's just change this. Let's just say we're starting with $10,000, like I mentioned before. That's mean I'm going to have to double more money 7 times to make $1 million. But we're only talking about doubling it. So I'm going to turn this on and we'll see how long it takes it to turn that $10,000 into $20,000, because then we will have doubled our money. And that's the whole point of this video, on how to double your money. It always backtests slower when I'm recording it like this, so I won't make you watch the whole lot. I'll pause it a couple of times to time lapse it for you. As you can see, I've had 2 winning trades and a losing trade. So you always have winning and losing trades in every trading strategy. If you ever come across a trading strategy or EA that claims to have 0 losing trades, I guarantee you, without even needing to know any further, that they are trying to scam you, or at least mislead you. But as you can see, we had a starting balance of $10,000 and we're up to 10,871 now, which means we've made 8.7% profit so far. But we'll leave that going. And we're talking about doubling our money. So the cost to do this, as of the moment, it will cost you $600 to purchase Volatility Master for the year. That price is going up very soon though. And we've got $10,000 in this trading account. So that would be your startup expenses, $10,000 plus $600 for the software. And if we're going to double that, that means we actually have to take the balance of this account up to $21,200. And that will mean we have doubled our money. Anyway, I'm going to just pause this for a little while so that you don't have to sit here and watch this chart slowly back test. We're almost 2 weeks into this back testing and we're up to about 23% profit. What I didn't mention before was that we're doing this trading on gold against the US dollar. It is one of the best pairs for Volatility Master. Probably getting slightly better results trading the US 30 indice. But because I don't have access to a constant 6 months or more of historical data to back test it on, I'm not showing you that. And I've also been getting pretty good results on Great British Pound against the US dollar. Because this latest breakthrough version of Volatility Master hasn't been around long, I haven't had a chance to tweak the settings to suit too many pairs yet. But this one here, we're doing it on gold. And we're getting there. So we're up to 32% profit. So our $10,000 is now turned into 13,241. So we're about a third of the way through to having doubled our $10,000. So progressing nicely. We're almost all the way through back testing for January. What are we up to? Uh, 25th, 26th of January. And we've made about 50% profit so far. Now, admittedly, 50% profit is definitely better than average. It's one of the best months. But still made it. Back testing gold, just to fill in some time while it does its thing. From January all the way through until today, I'm pretty sure January is the best month. And I think February and August were the worst months. but they still made, 5 to 10% profit those bad months. So there's actually not a single losing month that whole time. And that's what you want to look for in a trading strategy or a automated software is consistency. There's no point making, 50% profit one month and then losing 50% the next month, So you got to be consistent results over the long term. I'll pause him again for a little while. So we're just getting through to the end of February. So we've been back testing for 2 months now. And this, where are we? That there was the end of January, and we made $4,100. So for 41% for the first month, which is an exceedingly good month. And that was the end of February, and that's got us up to $7,400 profit. So we're now up to 74% profit. So 41% profit the first, $4,100 the first month, and $3,300 the second month. Here's something I might want to explain, which is something that a lot of people have trouble with when it comes to trading. Now, if you have a look at this, you have to be pretty impressed with the results. But let's say you started right here. So the account balance there is 19,500. Let's say you started there. Down here a week later, you're about $3,000 down. Okay, so if you start there and you lose that in a week or two, you're not feeling very good. In fact, you're probably at the point where you're considering not continuing with this strategy or software. But that's why you need to look at it more long term, because long term, these results are quite incredible. But as I said, if you were the unlucky person that started right here, your initial, your initial experience with the software is going to be terrible, just at the start of a big losing streak. But long term, it's awesome. So you can't really judge anything to do with trading on a couple of weeks or even a month, because every trading strategy will have a bad run now and again. We're up to here. So right here, the balance is now 21,800. Our goal was to make 21,200. So right there on the 12th of the 3rd. So that's 72 days. So it took us 72 days, almost 2.5 months, to double our money. So we've doubled our 10 grand, plus we've doubled the 600 it cost for the software. So 72 days for a doubling. And you only need 7 of them to get to 1 million. All righty, so I'm going to stop that back testing right there. So that's one way to double your money. And in this example, we did it in 72 days. Admittedly, that first month was, a better than average month. So it could definitely take more than 72 days. Now I'm going to go through another trading related method to double your money. And that's by taking advantage of prop firm accounts. Now, if you don't know what a prop firm account is, they generally charge you a fee to take their challenge, if you pass their challenge, and the challenge is simply designed to prove that you can trade safely and profitably, then you get to trade an account with them and get to keep 80% at least of all the profits that you make. So on that note, let us work out a few figures on that. Let's say you've got to purchase the software to start with, which will cost you $600 at the moment, and you'll have to purchase a prop firm account, which in Australian dollars will cost you about $800 for a $100,000 prop firm account challenge. So your total expense here is only $1,400. Now let's just start our back testing March, where we finished off the end of the other one. So I don't want to back test the same time period. I want to show you some more extensive back testing. Plus that first month was better than average, so it would be unfair to reuse that one again. Alrighty, so prop firm account challenges can vary a bit, but the one I use, it's a two-phase challenge. So you get to trade a $100,000 demo account. So let's make this 100,000. And it's got two phases, as I mentioned. The first phase, you need to make 8% profit. And there's a couple of things you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to have more than 5% drawdown in any one day. And you're not allowed to lose more than 10% all up. So keeping those limiting factors in mind, you won't be able to trade with a 3% risk per trade. So I'm going to drop that down to 1% risk. I'm going to drop my daily profit maximum loss down to 1.1%. So as I mentioned, you're not allowed to lose more than 5% in any one day. So that will ensure I never lose more than 1.1% in any one day. And I'm also going to just reduce this one as well so that so that the ratios are the same. Simply because I was aiming for 11% for the day, trading 3% risk. So it's too much to ask for the same amount on 1%. So we've got it at 3.5 now. Right, so they're the settings changes that I needed to make so that will suit a prop firm account. So now I'm going to click start, and we're going to start on the day where we finished off that first one. And our goal is to pass the first phase. So that means we need to pass, we need to make 8% profit. And we're off to a bad start. Once we finish the back testing, we'll be able to look at the report, and that'll tell us precisely how much drawdown we had and how much loss we had. So we'll be able to work out whether we kept within the prop account parameters. As you can see, this was a bad time to start a prop firm account. But we lost about 6.5% on that run down there. But that's still within the parameters. So as long as the software now makes that money back, we'll still be fine. It took a while, but we recovered from that 6.5% loss. We got back up into 2% profit now. As I said, it was probably right on the worst day to start a prop trading account, but in real life, you never know what the market's going to do next week. So you wouldn't know when's the best time to start a prop account. So that's good. That's sort of, reenacting real life events there. Sometimes you might make your 8% really quickly. Other times it can take a lot longer than you'd prefer. What's the date we're up to now? 2nd of the 5th. So we're kicking through here. We're almost 2 months in, and we haven't made our 8% yet. So it looks like this is going to take us, well, obviously, more than the 72 days that it took us to double our money last time. But we'll actually be doing a lot more than doubling our money by using the prop firms. But we'll just let this play out and we'll just do the figures and see how long it does take us. Okay, and we've hit our 8% now. There we go. That's 8% right there on the 15th of the 5th. So we'll stop it at that. So 15th of the 5th. So that took us just over 2 months, 2 months and 2 days to make our 8%. And it's longer than you prefer, but one of the beauties of utilizing a prop firm account is that, like it cost us the $1,400 to purchase a prop account in the software. If we were trading just on that $1,400 and it took us 8 months to make 8%, or 2 months to make 8%, we wouldn't have made very much money. But because we're leveraging a prop firm account and actually trading a $100,000 account, we did an extra day or two, but we made $8,000 in that 2 months. And what we need to look at is to make sure we've kept the drawdown down. So what maximum drawdown is it includes multiple trades in a row that are losing. And in this case, we had several losing trades in a row that added up to a losing streak of 7.31%, which is possibly more than I like because you're getting pretty close to your 10%. And if you hit the 10%, then you fail the prop firm challenge, meaning that you've got to pay the fee to start again. Now, we do have a strategy to show you how you can do this so that you do never have to pay that fee again. So if you do fail, you can keep retrying it essentially for free. It does cost you more in the long run, or it costs you more, but if you're unsure about passing it, it's a nice little insurance policy. But, with this software, as long as you don't mind trading, a little conservatively and taking sometimes a bit longer than you prefer, then it'll get you there anyway. So we made our 8% and we kept the drawdown within the parameters required by the prop firm. So now we need to go up to May 15th. Let's go to the 16th. So what happens with the prop firm account? We made that 8%. So we've passed the first phase of the challenge. Now we've got to pass the second phase of the challenge, which is exactly the same, except you only need to make 5% profit on the second phase. So we're going to kick this off again and see how long it takes us to make 5% and therefore pass the second phase of the challenge. Well, so far we've been having a bad run. I should have definitely used the January for the prop firm back testing example, but we'll get there. It's just going to take a bit longer. This has been like real life. You have really good trading, so you decide to go for a prop account, and straight away you have a bad run. But we made it all back, and we peaked here at 3.7%, but we've got to make 5%. We're getting pretty close now, and bang, there we go. We'll stop that there and find out what date we hit our 5%. Right there, so on the 17th of the 7th. That means yeah, we took 63 days to pass the second phase as well. But that's trading, I guess, a bit longer than we like. So what happens with the prop account now is that you've actually passed the challenge. So now you get to keep 80% of the profits you make from here on in. Get us back up to the start here. Now, what happens with the prop firm that I'm using, which is called Funded Next, is that I now need to make at least 5% before I can get paid out. And what I will get once I make 5%, what I will get is 80%. So I've got to make 5%. So that would be $5,000. And then I'm entitled to get a payout. What I'll get is 80% of the 5,000, which is $4,000. I'm also going to get 15% of the profit I made during the first two phases. So I made 13% during the first two phases because I had to make 8%, then had to make 5%. So 13 grand in total. And I'm going to get 15% of that, which is $1,950. What I'm also going to do is get the challenge fee back as well, which cost me 800 Australian dollars, which was I better put it all in US dollars so it's easier to calculate. So the challenge cost me about 570 US dollars. So we'll get that back as well. But first I need to make another 5%. So let's start it off there again and see how long the next 5% takes us. But what I'll be getting in my hot little pocket as soon as I finish will be, I'm using my calculator, will be 6,000, I'll round it down a bit, $6,500. Which is about 9,500 Australian dollars. And to do that, all it cost us was 600 Australian dollars to buy the software and 800 Australian dollars to purchase a prop firm challenge. So it cost us $1,400. which means that we've turned our 1,400 into 9,500, which is, how many doublings is that? One is about 2.5, not quite 3 times doubling our money. And there we go. We've made our $5,000. Made our $5,000 right about there. On the 5th of the 8th. So what did that take us? It took us 13, took us about 23 days to make that 5%. So that means it took us 63 days to make our first 8%, another 63 days to make our 5%, which means we passed the 2-phase challenge. And then it just took us 23 days to make another 5%. So 149 days in total. You know, which is, it's almost 5 months. So let's call it 5 months. So it took us 5 months, but in that time, we basically doubled our $1,400 2.5 times. And then the beauty of the prop account is that now we just keep trading it and we just keep making more profit without having any more overheads. Anyway, guys, that's basically the 2 things I wanted to go through. I was actually hoping the prop firm example would make its 8 and 5% a little quicker than it did, but that's fine. That's how things go. They can't all be like January in the first example. Anyway, I hope that shed a bit of light on a few things. I'll talk to you later.